Welcome to Drone Pilot MBA.
We're so glad you could join us.
Today, we're doing another deep dive, and this one's really interesting. We're unpacking an article by our own producer, Tony Marino.
That's right. It's called Unlocking the ABC Drone Pilot Sales Strategy Secrets.
And it definitely pushes back on some common ideas.
It really does. It's a bit of a wake-up call, isn't it?
Yeah.
The core idea is that just being a fantastic pilot, that's not enough.
Right.
Tony really hammers home that if you want a business, not just a hobby, you absolutely have to get the sales side right. It's paramount.
Absolutely. So that's our mission for this deep dive. We want to really get into Tony's ABC strategy.
Figure out what it actually means.
Yeah, what it means, why he thinks it's so critical, especially for drone pilots, and crucially, how you can start using it.
How you can implement it today to get past those hurdles and build a business that actually lasts.
Exactly. This conversation, it's really built for you whether you're just starting or looking to scale up. So let's dive into the foundation. Tony's main idea is this ABC sales strategy. Always be closing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I gotta admit, when I first heard that phrase, always be closing, my mind immediately went to
Alec Baldwin. Glenn Ross.
Exactly, that old school high pressure sales thing. But Tony's article, well, it makes it clear pretty quickly that's not what he means.
No, not at all. It's different. It's less about a specific tactic and more about a fundamental shift in your whole approach.
A mindset shift.
Totally.
Yeah.
Tony defines it as being in this constant state of strategic readiness.
Strategic readiness.
Yeah, so that's mentally, verbally, and even behaviorally. You're always ready to spot an opportunity, start a conversation, and move things forward.
At all times.
At all times. It's about rewiring how you think. Thinking like a closer, yes, but also like a marketer, like a business owner.
Yeah.
All the time, not just, when you sit down to send emails.
Okay, that distinction feels really important. It's not about being pushy or slick.
Yeah.
It's about being prepared and aware.
Prepared and perceptive. And Tony makes this really useful point about feature versus benefit here.
Right, I remember that.
The feature is that readiness itself, that constant state we just talked about.
Okay.
But the benefit, the reason this readiness is so incredibly important, that's tied directly to how the drone industry works. It's unique.
Because it's so mobile.
Exactly. You don't have a shop people walk past. It's highly visual too. People often need to see drone footage to really get the value.
That makes sense. You can't just describe it easily.
Right. And the big one, it's often misunderstood, your potential clients. They might not even realize a drone is the solution to their problem.
Or even know what kinds of services you offer.
Precisely. So unlike, say, a plumber, you need one when the pipe bursts.
Yeah, the need is obvious.
With drones, you often have to educate the client first. You have to be an ambassador.
An ambassador for the tech, for the industry.
But for your own business.
Yeah.
You can't just, rely on SEO and hope someone finds your website.
You have to be proactive. Show them what's possible.
Which means you need to be ready to engage, to inform, basically anytime, anywhere.
Tony had this line in the article that really jumped out at me. He said, if you're not actively looking for opportunities to sell, inform, or engage, you're invisible.
Oof.
Yeah.
It's pretty direct.
But it feels accurate, doesn't it, for this kind of business?
I think it does. Invisibility. That's what kills so many potentially good drone businesses. They just never get seen.
So the ABC strategy is kind of the antidote to being invisible.
Exactly. It trains you. It trains you to spot the opening, have the right words ready, and crucially to actually step forward when maybe others would hesitate or just not even notice.
Okay, so we've established the drone industry context, mobile, visual, needs education. Why does Tony argue that ABC is more critical here than in other businesses, like, say, running a cafe?
Well, think about that cafe example. People walk by, they see the sign, they smell the coffee.
They know what it is.
They know what it is, they know if they want it, and they can walk right in. The need is often immediate, the solution is obvious, and it's right there physically.
Okay.
For a drone pilot, your storefront is, well, it's wherever you are, or wherever your drone is flying.
It's not fixed.
Not at all. Potential clients are scattered, their needs might be hidden, or they don't even know they have a need a drone can solve.
Yeah.
And there's no physical door for them to just walk through.
Right. You're not tied to a place. You're tied to the opportunity, wherever it pops up.
Exactly. And that's what the ABC mindset helps you leverage. Tony lists some real benefits in the article for operating this way.
Like what?
Well, first, you make sure you never miss that fleeting moment. That chance to turn a casual chat into a potential client conversation.
Because those moments are fleeting, right? If you're not switched on, they just Vanish.
They're gone. And second, by being ready and engaging like that, you stay top of mind in your network.
Ah, so you become the drone person they know.
But more than that, you're the active, knowledgeable drone person who offers solutions. That builds your reputation, which is vital.
And then there's the competition angle he mentioned.
Yeah, that's huge. He argues this mindset lets you seriously outpace others.
How so?
Think about it. While many pilots are maybe just waiting, hoping for leads from their website or one marketing flyer.
The passive approach.
Right. You, with the ABC mindset, you're actively generating potential leads everywhere you go. At the park, the store, talking to neighbors.
You're building this organic pipeline.
Constantly, not just daily, but maybe even hourly, just by living your life, but with this purpose switched on.
That doesn't just speed up growth, it kind of changes where your business comes from.
Totally. It shifts the source. And that's Tony's big point, I think. This is what transforms you from just a drone operator.
Someone who flies the drone.
Into a business builder. Someone who finds the work for the drone. He believes that failure to make this shift is why so many pilots struggle early on.
They focus too much on the gear and the flying.
Exactly. The tech skills, the editing, they're essential, no doubt. But they forget the core business activity. Finding people who will pay you.
ABC forces you to keep that front and center. Okay, theory is great. But let's get practical. Let's bring this down to earth. What does always be closing actually look like day to day? It's clearly not about being annoying or pushy.
Definitely not. And Tony gives some really good, relatable examples. They show it's more about subtle observation and positioning yourself as helpful.
Like the grocery store one.
Yeah, it's a classic. You overhear someone talking, maybe frustrated, their house just isn't selling.
Okay, normally I just, keep walking or maybe give a sympathetic look.
Right. But Tony says, ding, 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 that's an ABC moment, if you're prepared.
So what do you do?
His suggestion isn't a hard sell at all. It's gentle. It's offering a solution. Something like, hey, excuse me, I couldn't help but overhear. I actually do drone photography for real estate. Sometimes those aerial shots really help homes sell faster. Happy to show you an example if you like.
Oh, okay. So you're linking their problem directly to something you offer.
And framing it as helpful information, not a demand for business. It's relevant right there in the moment.
That feels way less awkward than trying to pitch cold.
Much less. Or the kid soccer game example. You're just chatting with another parent on the sidelines. They mention they work in construction.
Okay, normally you just talk about the game or the weather.
Or maybe complain about the ref. But the ABC pilots, they hear construction and a little light goes on. Potential connection.
So what's the approach there?
Again, it's curiosity-led, focused on them. Tony suggests asking, oh, construction. That's interesting. What kind of projects are you working on these days? I actually do drone video and site documentation. That might be a really cool way to showcase your builds or track progress.
So you're asking about their work first, then planting a seed about how your service could fit in.
Exactly. You're looking for that overlap, that intersection between their world and yours. And then there's the most common one for drone pilots.
Flying for fun.
Yeah. You're at the park, maybe testing something out, and someone inevitably comes over. Kid, adult, whatever. Hey, cool drone. What's that?
And Tony is really strong on this. Don't just say, oh, it's just a hobby.
Absolutely not. He says that's a wasted opportunity. A prime moment for brand building, for lead generation.
Because you've got their attention. You've got the drone right there.
You're literally demonstrating value visually. And they initiated the contact. Tony's script is something like, thanks. Actually, I run a drone media company. We do work for real estate, events, construction, you name it. This is just where I come to practice techniques and test gear.
Boom. Instantly, you've shifted from person with a toy to business owner.
Right there on the spot.
Yeah.
You've positioned yourself professionally.
These examples really clarify it. It's not about manufacturing sales situations. It's about being ready to recognize and respond to the organic ones that happen all the time.
Which leads naturally into the idea of the ABC toolkit that Tony talks about. Being ready isn't just luck. It means having some basic things prepared.
Okay, what's in the toolkit?
Well, it's not complicated. First, he says, have a soft intro script ready.
So not like a full memorized pitch?
No, nothing stiff. Just easy, natural language you can pull out quickly. Maybe just one or two sentences.
Like what?
Simple benefit statements. I help real estate agents sell homes faster using aerial photos. Or maybe something to spark interest. Drone video is a fantastic way to market local businesses. Ever thought about it for yours? Want to see a quick example?
Something clear and concise, not salesy.
Exactly. And second, use curiosity.
Lead with a question.
Yes. Instead of just blurting out what you do, Ask something that involves them, like that construction example, or ever considered how drone footage might boost your marketing efforts?
That gets them thinking and opens the door for a real conversation.
It does. It's much more engaging. And the third tool is about awareness. Knowing who you're talking to, Tony calls it keeping your radar on.
Your radar, like scanning the room.
Sort of. Scanning your conversations, your environment, always gently listening for clues. Is this person a potential client? Are they connected to potential clients?
Those kind of clues.
Their job title, the industry they mention, problems they talk about. Are they a contractor, an agent, a venue manager, a small business owner needing marketing help, a homeowner worried about their roof?
So you train your brain to listen for keywords or professions that might link to drone services.
Exactly. It's about being observant, proactively connecting the dots. You hear problem, you think, could a drone help with that? You identify if the person fits a potential client profile, and then
You have that soft intro ready to go.
precisely. It becomes a sequence. Observe, identify, engage gently.
Which brings us back to that bigger theme Tony stresses throughout the article, the mindset shift. He calls it being always on purpose.
And that, I think, is the real engine behind ABC. It's not just a trick you pull out sometimes. It becomes an intentional way you operate in the world.
It turns everyday life into, what did he call it?
A lead-generating engine. Your normal activities start producing opportunities because you're viewing them through this lens.
So being always on purpose means consciously tuning your brain to listen for those opportunities.
Yes, and having that clear, professional, but still friendly response ready so you don't just freeze or miss the moment.
And practice. He mentions practice.
Crucial. Practicing these interactions, these soft intros, until it's not something awkward you force yourself to do. It just becomes natural, your default mode.
Like learning to fly the drone itself.
That's the analogy Tony uses. Learning flight maneuvers feels clunky at first, right? You have to think hard about every stick movement.
Totally.
But with practice, it becomes smooth, intuitive, almost subconscious. He says the ABC mindset is the same. You train that business muscle. You use it over and over, and eventually you just live that way.
That makes a lot of sense. It's a skill you develop, not just an idea. And developing it gives you a huge competitive advantage. Tony really emphasizes that point too.
Oh, yeah. This is where he gets pretty blunt about how the market actually works for drone pilots.
He breaks it down into categories.
Kind of. He talks about the brand new pilots who are, frankly, clueless about running a business. Then there are the passive ones, just sort of waiting for the phone to ring. And then maybe the lazy ones, treating it more like a weekend hobby than a serious venture.
And he brings in the 80-20 rule.
He does. And it's a stark picture. He argues that maybe only the top 20% of drone pilots, the ones actively marketing, actively engaging, the ones living this ABC mindset, they're the ones grabbing maybe 80% of the available work.
Wow. So the rest are fighting for the leftovers.
Or just not getting anywhere, fading out. So ABC isn't just about getting a job here and there. It's about actively positioning yourself to be in that successful top 20%.
How does it do that specifically?
Well, first, you're proactively creating your own leads, not just waiting for them. That's massive. Second, it changes how people see you. You're not just a service vendor waiting for instructions.
You become a solution provider.
Exactly. Someone who spots needs, suggests solutions, maybe even before the client fully realizes the problem themselves. You're adding value from the first interaction.
Which means you're not just hoping to be found online. You're out there finding the opportunities directly.
It's incredibly empowering. And Tony's key point here is that this competitive edge, it's less about having the absolute fanciest drone or the slickest editing.
Those things help, but
the real differentiator for long-term success is the mindset, the consistency, the always-on-purpose action.
The article also frames this as a long game, right? This isn't about overnight success.
Definitely not. The drone business realistically is a long game. It's usually not a quick path to riches.
So how does ABC fit into that?
A sustainable business, Tony argues, isn't built on one lucky break. It's built on the buildup, the cumulative effect of consistently capturing all those small, often unexpected moments.
The grocery store chat, the soccer game.
Yeah, exactly. Those little opportunities to connect, to educate, to build rapport, maybe plant a seed that sprouts later. If you miss those moments day after day, week after week,
You never build momentum.
you never really get traction. You're just sort of idling, not really in the game.
He mentions a time frame too, doesn't he, for building something sustainable.
Yeah, he suggests it often takes, realistically, maybe 3 to 5 years to build a truly solid, self-sustaining drone business.
That's a commitment.
It is. And he says reaching that point requires all your metaphorical propellers to be spinning effectively.
Meaning?
Your flying skills, your editing, your marketing, your follow-up process, and this proactive ABC mindset. They all have to work together. If one is missing or broken.
The whole thing struggles to lift off or stay flying?
Right. And he paints a pretty stark picture. A huge number of drone businesses started today. They just won't be around in a few years.
Why not?
Because they don't crack the code on consistent revenue. They might be amazing pilots, technically brilliant.
But they don't master the business side.
They don't master staying active, staying visible, staying engaged, and consistently positioning themselves to win the work. ABC, he argues, is the engine that drives that consistent revenue. It keeps those propellers spinning.
So it's like the lifeline, especially in those tough early years, to help you survive long enough to reach that 3 to 5 year sustainability point.
It's more than just survival, though. It's about building the foundation during those years. It's the engine that creates momentum right from the start.
Which makes it even more vital during that initial startup phase, say the first 6 months, 18 months.
Absolutely critical then. Because look, when you're just starting, you have zero reputation, basically. No track record, no repeat clients calling.
You're building from scratch.
Totally. You simply cannot afford to be passive. You can't wait for things to happen. You have to make things happen. Every day, every conversation, every handshake needs to count.
And practicing ABC from day one helps you learn how to do that.
It forces you to learn how to turn those random chats into actual leads, how to talk about what you do in a way that resonates naturally.
Builds your confidence, your pitch.
Exactly. And it trains that awareness muscle, so you get better and better at spotting opportunities in real time and actually doing something about them.
It sounds like fundamental business training tailored for the drone world that's make or break early on.
That's a great way to put it. It really is the difference between just, treading water, hoping something bites, and actively flying forward with direction.
Okay, so let's try and wrap this up. If you had to distill the main takeaway from Tony's whole ABC strategy deep dive, what would it be?
I think it's that success in this field isn't about becoming some kind of high-pressure sales guru. That's not the point.
It's not about being slick.
No. It's about presence. It's about purpose. It's about training yourself mentally, verbally, behaviorally to just be ready.
Ready to always be closing, but in a helpful, prepared, professional way.
Exactly. Focused on providing value, spotting needs, Tony really just encourages you to add one simple question to your internal checklist as you go through your day.
Which is?
In any situation, any conversation, just ask yourself, is there potentially an opportunity here?
Just that simple question.
Just start there. And if the answer feels like maybe or even a hesitant yes,
don't overthink it.
Don't freeze. Just act. Take that small step. Close the physical gap. Start the conversation. Offer that little bit of help or information. Plant the seed.
Because, as Tony says, you genuinely have no idea where that one moment might lead down the road.
Could be nothing. Could be your next big client. Could be a referral source. You just don't know until you try.
He ends with a great line about the sky.
Oh, yeah. For drone pilots building a business, the sky isn't the limit. It's your runway.
Love that. Fly with purpose. Always be closing.
Couldn't say it better.
Thanks for joining us and keep on droning.